My name's Garrett Gregor. I'm the head route setter for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games for bouldering. And
every year our comp gets bigger and bigger, and I think that's just going to keep growing, especially having this wall that's an IFSC standard wall.
The Titan in name is pretty lofty, the Titan in shape is pretty lofty, and I think you feel that as a climber. You feel the bigness of it.
Some of the best moments I've had in my career as a route setter, they've all been on the bouldering wall.
I was involved in the Olympics in Tokyo in 2021. It was at a time in our sport when this was brand new at the Olympic level. So it was a brand new wall that was designed specifically for Tokyo. It's kind of progressed into this thing called the Titan. And the Titan, as it currently stands, is this new wall design for Paris. Who am I? Yeah, so I am Garrett Gregor. I have been setting for about 25 years now. One of the things about our sport that's pretty unique is that you don't just climb on the same wall profile. You don't just run the same race on the same oval. When you look at the soccer field, you know what you're looking at. When you look at the basketball court, you know what you're looking at. And when you look at the climbing wall, I think you know what you're looking at. And I think for a spectator coming into climbing, it's really important that the wall stands out so that they're kind of like drawn in and awe-inspired just by the look of the wall, and then they can get further drawn into, oh, what are those shapes on the wall? What does it mean for somebody to go from this point to that point? So one of the ideas was, how do we sort of like keep that familiarity of the field of play, but make some subtle changes that are gonna have a big impact? Me, Percy, who was the head route setter back in Tokyo for the bouldering team. A number of other individuals and designers from Entreprise got together and talked about what worked well in Tokyo and what could we shift a little bit. The wall profile on the left side in Tokyo was 5 degrees in a slab, and now it's at 0.
It was too slabby. There was too big a section on the left-hand side which was easy angled. And so this 0-degree slab, or vertical wall as I like to call it, is just gives us the option. Nowadays with wooden volumes and macros, they're so big we can effectively change the angle of the structure that we're climbing on.
And then you also have this new addition of a big steep roof that extends and juts out over the far right side of the wall. We want to put up a level of competition that allows the competitors to showcase the best of their abilities. We want to try to ensure that we have a mix of different styles. In part, that's influenced from the IFSC to push some more guidelines for how things are done. We're going to have a slow boulder, we're going to have a fast boulder, we're going to have a boulder that represents power, we're going to have a boulder that represents technical ability. And so there's a little bit more fundamental guidelines for what we put up. What the Titan allows us to do is to ensure that each of those skill sets is represented, to ensure that each of those guidelines is met. We're really allowed the space and opportunity to do whatever it is that we want to do within those guidelines, and on top of that have the diversity already built in to the Titan itself. The Titan brings a sort of scalability just based on its size alone. There are ways to incorporate massive, massive features onto this wall without needing to consider what does it mean if we're going to go over a couple different subtle shifts in panels. When you talk about replicating a wall, I think there's a lot of pushback initially about, what does it mean to lose that spirit of climbing? But I think what gets lost is the value that gets added. These routes don't necessarily have to just be contained to one event or one location. We can now ship these routes to a gym that has no route setting program. I think by doing that, you open it up to so many more participants. It enables you to perform competitions in multiple different parts of the world on the same field of play and know that what somebody does in Indonesia is going to be the same as what somebody does in England is going to be the same as what somebody does in New York City. I think there's a lot of opportunity there that is still being explored, and Entreprise, I think, does that with the Titan.